Hi again then guys, and welcome to the 5th episode of Pumping Iron on Forza Horizon 3, the review series for the muscle cars on the game, both old and new. And I must admit personally, I'm a huge fan of AMC. They are kind of oddball as far as design goes for the most part. The Pacer and the Gremlin are perfect examples of that, and they don't seem to be as popular among Forza players as some of the more obvious things like Camaros, Chevelles, Chargers, Challengers. That's not too surprising, but at the same time, I have always gone for the car which is less popular. I love taking those vehicles and seeing if they can actually live up to those more obvious choices, the big dogs, if you will. And as far as this car goes, I would say that it can. The car in particular is the Javelin, kind of a strangely proportioned car, little bit Mustang-esque in its appearance, a very pointy, focused front end with a big, bloated-looking back end, and a very strange little lip above the rear wing, which makes it look kind of like a hatchback. Now, in terms of spec, it's already got some good numbers. It's a 6.6 litre naturally aspirated V8. Of course, it's rear-wheel drive. 330 horsepower is not bad, and it's only in the C class. Now, for 35,000 credits, that's a pretty good canvas to start with. But being a muscle car, there are certain drawbacks. It's a little bit wallowy through corners, and the top speed isn't great. You top out at around 126 miles per hour without tuning. But most of the other muscle cars aren't that great for top speed either, in stock form. So the real question is, what's it like when you tune it? Well, we factor that in when we rate these cars, so let's talk about those ratings. Well, for those who are perhaps new to the channel, I break down every car that I review into 5 particular categories, and those are handling, acceleration, top speed, which includes top-end acceleration, value for money, and finally usability. Then we tabulate those 5 scores together to give the car an overall score within its class, so in this case muscle cars, out of a possible 100 points. So first of all, let's talk handling. And for handling, I'm going to give the Javelin a score of 4 out of 5, because as far as muscle cars go, it's actually a really good one, I would say, even without doing anything to it at all, which is what you can see in this video. This is a totally stock version that I'm driving. It already handles really well. It doesn't feel as heavy as it is. As it happens, it's not the heaviest of muscle cars. It weighs 1,563 kilos, which is pretty good. That's roughly 1.6 tons or thereabouts. And it feels great, I would say, through the corners. The front end is a little bit looser than some other muscle cars, which allows you to be more precise, and when you tune it, you can accentuate that even more. As far as acceleration goes, I'm going to give it a 4, because again, even in stock form, it performs very well. It can outpace quite a few of the other muscle cars in the game. It's not the quickest, but it's pretty good, and when you tune it up, it just gets even better. Now, as far as straight line performance goes, that also leads us on to top-end speed. And for top-end speed, I'm going to give it another 4. And the reason why is because although it's not great stock, and to be honest, that does hurt the rating a little bit, you do have to tune it significantly to improve that, such as with racing gearboxes, increasing the power, of course, that kind of stuff. But when tuned, the top-end speed is very good. It's not the absolute fastest of muscle cars, but it can do around or even over 260 miles per hour, which is very good. That's certainly good enough to see off most other muscle cars on even the longest of straights, and there are very few muscle cars which can actually catch up to it when it's doing that speed. As far as value for money goes, I'm actually going to give it a full 5, and the reason is twofold. One is because the price itself is already great at 35,000 credits, so that's a good start. But the reason why I'm giving it a perfect 5 in terms of value, not just affordability, is because not only is it cheap, but it's good value for that price. Because a cheap car isn't necessarily a good car. A car that delivers a lot for a low price, well, that's pretty much a perfect deal. And that's why I'm giving this a full 5. As I said earlier, it starts in the C class. You can tune it all the way up to S2, which gives you a huge range that you can use the car in. And with tuning, it becomes great. But even stock, you can win muscle events with it. So for 35 grand, that's a pretty great deal. And finally, leading on in terms of racing to its usability, I'm going to again give it a full 5 for basically the same reasons as I just mentioned. It has such a broad range of use and a broad range of effectiveness, off-road, on-road, for drag racing, sprint racing, circuit racing, from anything in the C class all the way up to S2. Of course, in the higher classes, you'll struggle a bit more, but it can be tuned up to that if necessary. So overall, that means that as a tabulation of those 5 scores put together, I'm giving the Javelin a score of 88. But that's it for this pick overall. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.